Okay, let's dive deep into this. Grab a comfortable seat, maybe a cup of coffee or tea, because we're going to have a real conversation about something important, retirement, and specifically, what might be heading our way around 2025 that could catch a lot of retirees off guard. The headline might sound a little alarming: what's coming in 2025 will shock retirees. And honestly, the intention isn't to scare anyone. It's the opposite. It's about starting a conversation, about awareness, and about making sure you feel prepared and empowered, not surprised. Because knowledge, truly, is power, especially when it comes to securing the retirement you've worked so hard for. Think about it. Retirement. For decades, it's been painted as this golden horizon. The finish line after a long career marathon. You put in the years, you saved diligently, you followed the rules, and now it's time to kick back, relax, travel, spend time with grandkids, pursue hobbies, whatever your dream looks like. It's a picture of well-deserved peace and security. But let's be honest, has the world stayed the same since you first started dreaming that dream? Absolutely not. Things are constantly changing: the economy, technology, healthcare, even how long we live. And these changes, they don't just happen in a vacuum. They ripple outwards, and they definitely touch the shores of retirement. So, when we talk about a potential shock coming around 2025, we're not talking about some single, sudden catastrophe. It's more like a convergence, a point where several ongoing shifts might become more noticeable, more impactful, especially for those already in or very close to retirement. It's like watching clouds gather on the horizon. Individually, they might not seem like much, but together, they signal a change in the weather is coming. And it's always better to have an umbrella before it starts raining, right? Let's peel back the layers. What are these shifts we're talking about? The ever-present hum of economic uncertainty. One of the biggest factors, and something you're likely already feeling, is the economic climate. We've all seen prices fluctuate. You go to the grocery store, and the total seems a bit higher than last time. You fill up the gas tank, and you feel that pinch. You look at utility bills, and they just seem to creep up. This isn't just your imagination, it's the reality of changing economic winds. For retirees, this is particularly crucial. Many are living on a relatively fixed income. Your Social Security check arrives, perhaps you have a pension, though those are becoming rarer, and you draw funds from your retirement savings, your 401k, IRA, or other investments. When the cost of everyday essentials goes up, but your income doesn't keep pace, it creates a squeeze. That comfortable budget you carefully planned might suddenly feel tight. Think about the ripple effect. It's not just about the bread and milk. It's about the choices you have to make. Maybe you postpone a planned trip. Maybe you think twice about dining out with friends. Maybe home repairs get put on the back burner. These aren't just financial adjustments, they impact your quality of life, the very enjoyment you envision for retirement. The markets play a role here too. We've seen periods of significant ups and downs. If a large portion of your retirement income relies on investment returns, volatility can be nerve-wracking. It's one thing when you're younger and have decades to recover from a downturn. It's quite another when you're relying on that money now. Seeing your nest egg fluctuate can cause real anxiety, even if you don't need to sell investments immediately. The psychological weight of uncertainty is heavy. Around 2025, the cumulative effect of these ongoing price adjustments and potential market shifts could become more pronounced. It's not necessarily predicting a crash, but rather acknowledging that the relative stability retirees might have hoped for could feel increasingly elusive. The shock isn't a sudden event, but the dawning realization that the financial ground beneath your feet feels less solid than you anticipated. It requires a different kind of planning, a more flexible mindset than perhaps was needed a generation ago. Navigating the healthcare maze. This is a big one. Healthcare is, without a doubt, one of the most significant expenses and concerns for retirees. And it's an area undergoing constant change and, frankly, rising costs. Most retirees rely on Medicare. It's a vital program, a cornerstone of retirement security for millions. But Medicare isn't free, and it doesn't cover everything. There are premiums, like for Part B, which covers doctor visits and outpatient care, deductibles, and copayments. And these costs have generally been trending upwards. Year after year, announcements about Medicare premium adjustments come out. Sometimes the increases are modest, sometimes more significant. But the overall direction has been towards costing beneficiaries more. This eats directly into your retirement budget. An increase here means less money available for everything else. Beyond the direct costs of Medicare itself, there's the broader landscape of healthcare expenses. Prescription drug costs can be substantial, even with Medicare Part D plans. Supplemental insurance, or Medigap, which helps cover costs Medicare doesn't, also comes with its own premiums. And then there's the potential need for long-term care, things like assisted living or nursing home care, which Medicare generally doesn't cover extensively, and the costs can be astronomical. Why might 2025 feel like a point of focus here? Policy discussions around healthcare are ongoing. Debates about drug pricing, Medicare funding, and potential program adjustments are always simmering. Sometimes, specific legislative changes or the effects of prior changes start to become fully realized around certain timeframes. Furthermore, the simple, persistent upward trend in overall healthcare spending means that each year, the burden potentially grows. The shock here isn't just the dollar amount, though that's significant. It's the complexity. Navigating Medicare, supplemental plans, prescription coverage, it can feel like a full-time job. It's confusing, it's stressful, and the fear of unexpected medical bills is a major source of anxiety for many seniors. The potential for costs to rise faster than anticipated, coupled with the system's complexity, can leave retirees feeling vulnerable and unprepared. It underscores the need not just for financial planning, but for really understanding your coverage and anticipating future healthcare needs as realistically as possible. The Social Security conversation. Social Security. For generations, it's been the bedrock of retirement income for the vast majority of Americans. You pay into it throughout your working life, and you expect it to be there for you when you retire. And let's be clear, Social Security is not projected to disappear overnight. That's important to state up front to avoid unnecessary panic. However, you've probably heard the discussions, seen the headlines about the long-term financial health of the program. The reality is, based on current projections, the trust funds that help pay Social Security benefits are facing a shortfall in the coming years. More people are retiring, baby boomers, people are living longer, and there are relatively fewer workers paying into the system for each retiree receiving benefits compared to decades past. This demographic shift puts financial pressure on the system. Now, what does this mean practically? Lawmakers have known about this for a long time, and there are various ways they could address the shortfall: adjusting the retirement age, modifying the benefit formula, changing how cost of living adjustments are calculated, increasing taxes, or some combination of these. The shock related to Social Security around 2025 isn't necessarily that benefits will suddenly stop or be drastically cut on a specific date. It's more about the increasing urgency of the conversation and the potential for changes to be enacted that could affect current or future retirees. Even if major changes don't happen immediately, the growing public discussion and the looming deadlines projected in official reports can create significant uncertainty and anxiety. Imagine planning your retirement budget relying heavily on a certain level of Social Security income. Then, you start hearing more and more talk about potential changes. Even if those changes are years away or might not affect you directly, the worry can be destabilizing. It forces you to ask, what if? What if my benefits aren't quite what I expected? What if cost of living adjustments don't fully keep up with my actual expenses? This uncertainty itself is a form of shock. It chips away at that feeling of security, that sense that you could count on this foundational piece of your retirement plan without question. It highlights the importance of not putting all your eggs in one basket and understanding how potential Social Security adjustments might impact your overall financial picture. It encourages a more proactive stance, staying informed about proposed changes and considering how you might adapt if necessary. Living longer, a blessing and a challenge. Here's something that sounds purely positive: we're living longer. Medical advancements, better nutrition, increased awareness of healthy habits, it all contributes to greater longevity. And that's wonderful. More years to enjoy life, more time with loved ones, more opportunities to explore interests. But longer lifespans also have significant financial implications for retirement. Put simply, if you live longer, your retirement savings need to last longer. A nest egg that seemed perfectly adequate for a 15 or 20-year retirement might look very different if you need it to stretch for 25, 30, or even more years. This longevity factor intersects directly with the other pressures we've discussed. Living longer means more years of potential exposure to inflation eroding your purchasing power. It means more years of paying for healthcare, potentially encountering significant medical expenses later in life. It means your Social Security benefits need to stretch further. The shock here is often a gradual realization. People meticulously plan to have enough money until, say, age 85 or 90. But what if you're healthy and active well into your 90s? It's a high-class problem, perhaps, but a financial challenge nonetheless. Are you prepared for that possibility? Around 2025, as demographic trends continue and medical science progresses, the reality of increased longevity might become even more apparent in retirement planning discussions. Financial advisors might place greater emphasis on planning for a longer time horizon. The need for strategies to protect against outliving your savings, like annuities, careful withdrawal strategies, or even considering part-time work later in life, could become more critical. It also changes the nature of retirement itself. Retirement isn't just about stopping work, it's potentially a very long phase of life. How do you want to spend those extra years? Staying active, engaged, and purposeful often requires resources. The traditional view of retirement as purely leisure might need to evolve, incorporating elements of continued learning, community involvement, or even flexible work arrangements for those who want or need them. This requires a shift in mindset as much as a shift in finances. The shifting sands of support systems. Think about retirement decades ago. It was more common for families to live closer together. There might have been an unspoken expectation that children would provide some level of support, whether financial or practical, to their aging parents if needed. Pensions were also more common, providing a steady, predictable income stream alongside Social Security. Today, the landscape looks different. Families are often geographically dispersed. Adult children may be juggling their own financial pressures, student loans, childcare costs, saving for their own retirement. While the love and emotional support remain strong, the capacity or expectation for significant financial assistance might be lower. Furthermore, the decline of traditional defined benefit pensions means the responsibility for funding retirement has largely shifted onto the individual's shoulders. You are the CEO of your own retirement fund, managing savings and investments primarily through vehicles like 401(k)s and IRAs. This offers flexibility but also requires more active management and carries more risk than the old pension system. The shock here isn't a single event but the culmination of these societal and economic shifts. Retirees entering this phase around 2025 might find themselves more reliant on their own resources and planning than previous generations were. The safety nets, both familial and corporate, might feel thinner. This emphasizes the critical importance of personal savings, careful financial planning, and having realistic expectations about income sources in retirement. It also highlights the value of building strong social connections and community support systems, which are vital for well-being regardless of financial status. Why 2025? The convergence point. So, why keep mentioning 2025? Again, it's not about a predicted apocalypse. It serves as a symbolic marker, a potential timeframe where the combined impact of these ongoing trends, persistent inflation, rising healthcare costs, intensifying social security discussions, the financial realities of longevity, and shifting support structures, might become more acutely felt by a larger number of retirees. Think of it like streams flowing into a river. Each stream represents one of these trends. As they merge, the river becomes wider, faster, and potentially more challenging to navigate. Around 2025, we might find ourselves further down that river, where the currents are stronger. Official reports on Social Security and Medicare often use projections that look ahead several years, and 2025 falls within a window where the need for action becomes more pressing according to some timelines. Economic cycles also play out over years, and the effects of recent inflation or policy decisions might become clearer by then. Technological changes continue accelerating, impacting everything from how we manage finances to how we access healthcare, presenting both opportunities and challenges for seniors. The shock, therefore, is the potential convergence of these factors, creating a retirement environment that feels noticeably different, perhaps more challenging, than what many people planned for years ago. It's the realization that the old assumptions might not hold true, and adaptation is necessary. Turning shock into strategy, taking control. Okay, we've laid out the potential challenges. It might feel a bit heavy. But remember, the goal here isn't to induce fear, it's to foster preparedness. Forewarned is forearmed. Knowing about these potential shifts allows you to move from a position of potential surprise to one of proactive strategy. So, what can you do? How do you navigate these changing currents? Revisit and refresh your plan, this is paramount. Don't let your retirement plan gather dust on a shelf. Your circumstances change, and the world changes. Regularly review your financial plan, at least annually, or whenever significant life events occur. Look at your budget realistically. Are your expenses aligning with your projections? Where are the pressure points, like inflation? Assess your income sources. How secure are they? How much do you rely on Social Security versus savings or other income? Review your investment allocation. Does it still align with your risk tolerance and time horizon, especially given potential market volatility? You might need a more conservative approach than when you were younger. Stress test your plan. Ask, what if? What if inflation stays higher for longer? What if healthcare costs jump? What if you live 5 or 10 years longer than expected? Does your plan hold up? If not, what adjustments can you make? Get savvy about healthcare, don't just pay the bills, understand your coverage. Really dig into your Medicare plan each year during open enrollment. Are you in the right Part D plan for your prescriptions? Is a Medicare Advantage plan or Original Medicare with Medigap a better fit for your needs and budget? Understand what's covered and what's not, especially regarding long-term care. Explore options like long-term care insurance, though it can be expensive and complex, or strategies to self-fund potential care needs. Focus on preventative health. Staying healthy is not only good for your well-being but can also significantly reduce healthcare costs down the line. Stay informed, but don't panic. Keep abreast of potential changes to Social Security and Medicare. Understand the proposals being discussed. Reliable sources like the official Social Security Administration, SSA, and Medicare websites, AARP, and reputable financial news outlets are good places to start. However, avoid getting swept up in fear-mongering headlines. Focus on understanding the actual implications and timelines. Embrace flexibility and adaptability. The retirement landscape is dynamic. Being willing to adapt is key. This might mean adjusting spending habits. Finding ways to save on everyday costs can free up funds for unexpected expenses or allow your savings to last longer. It could involve considering part-time work if you're able and willing. Many retirees find that working a few hours a week provides not only extra income but also social engagement and a sense of purpose. Think creatively about housing. Could downsizing, relocating to a lower-cost area, or exploring options like home sharing be possibilities if needed? Seek trusted advice. You don't have to navigate this alone. A qualified, fee-only financial advisor who acts as a fiduciary, meaning they must put your interests first, can be invaluable. They can help you review your plan, stress test it, understand your options, and make informed decisions tailored to your specific situation. Don't hesitate to seek professional guidance. Focus on what you can control. You can't control inflation rates or congressional decisions. But you can control your spending, your saving strategy, to the extent possible, your health habits, your willingness to learn and adapt, and your choice to seek good advice. Focus your energy there. Connect with your community. Strong social ties are crucial for well-being in retirement. Stay connected with friends, family, and community groups. These networks provide emotional support, practical help, and a sense of belonging, which are just as important as financial security. The message: awareness, action, and confidence. So, yes, the retirement landscape around 2025 and beyond might present some new challenges, some potential shocks for those who aren't anticipating the shifts. The convergence of economic pressures, healthcare costs, evolving social programs, and increased longevity creates a complex picture. But the story doesn't end there. It doesn't have to be a story of fear or anxiety. By understanding these trends, by acknowledging the potential changes, you empower yourself. You shift from being a passive observer to an active participant in shaping your retirement journey. This isn't about predicting the future with a crystal ball. It's about recognizing the direction the winds are blowing and adjusting your sails accordingly. It's about replacing uncertainty with information, replacing anxiety with action. The retirement you dreamed of is still within reach, but it might require more active navigation than you initially thought. It demands awareness, flexibility, and a commitment to regularly reviewing and adjusting your course. Your call to action. Don't let this conversation be the end of it. Let it be the beginning. Take that first step. Schedule time this week to look at your current retirement plan and budget. Just start there. Have the conversation, talk with your spouse, partner, or family about these potential shifts and how you might navigate them together. Seek knowledge, commit to understanding your Medicare options better during the next open enrollment period. Bookmark the SSA website to stay informed. Consider professional help. If you feel overwhelmed or unsure, reach out to a trusted financial advisor. It's an investment in your peace of mind. The future of retirement is changing, yes. But by facing these changes head-on, with open eyes and a proactive spirit, you can navigate the road ahead with greater confidence and security. You've worked hard to get here. Now, let's make sure you have the tools and knowledge to make these years truly golden, even amidst the changing tides. Be aware, be prepared, and take control of your retirement journey. You've got this.